mengislamkan ribuan warga Muslim di Amerika, Masya Allah. Dan beliau juga memiliki ratusan kampus. Siapa dia?
Assalamualaikum teman-teman Cerita Untungs. Dr. Abu Aminah Bilal Philips atau biasa dipanggil Syekh Bilal Philips merupakan sosok cendekiawan Islam dari Kanada. Lahir dari keluarga yang taat non-Islam hingga beliau menemukan Islam.
Yeah, my parents were Christians.
Oh, Christians.
Yeah, in Jamaica. And they practiced nominal Christianity. You say in name. You know, they were not fervent believers who were propagating Christianity.
Syekh Bilal Philips masuk dalam 50 orang dari 500 orang berpengaruh di dunia dalam perkembangan Islam. Makin penasaran dengan kisahnya? Yuk saksikan kisah lengkapnya hanya di Cerita Untungs.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Kita bertemu dengan Dr. Bilal Philips. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Wow, it's an honor to be here with you. Barakallahu fikum. Masya Allah.
My pleasure to share the moment.
Wow, Masya Allah. Is it the first time for you to be in Indonesia?
No.
How many times?
Less than 10.
Less than 10. Oh, it means a lot, yeah?
I've been a few times.
Been a few times. So, how do you find Indonesia so far?
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. That's why I'm back.
Oh, I thought you were Mike Tyson when the first time I met you.
Everybody tells me that. You look like Mike Tyson. Wow.
MashaAllah.
It's recent. I don't know whether he's changed his look or something that makes, because I never heard it before.
Oh yeah.
But it's in the last, I think, 2 years. I don't know how many people have told me, you look like Mike Tyson.
You are.
Okay.
MashaAllah.
Sure.
And then there are so many inspiring information that I got, that so many inspiring people that many Muslims following YouTube or probably in social media, like Sheikh Yusuf Estes, probably Noman Ali Khan, they were inspired by your books. That's quite interesting. But before we get to that, I heard that you were a referred a long time back.
1972.
1972.
Before you were born.
Before I was born, mashallah. How old was that when you?
I was 25.
25. Oh, mashallah. So you look younger than you look a lot younger than your age.
Well,
I want to know the recipe after this.
Inshallah.
So, were you raised from a Muslim family or non-Muslim family or community before?
Yeah, my parents were Christians.
Oh, Christians.
Yeah, in Jamaica. And they practiced nominal Christianity. You say in name. You know, they were not fervent believers who were propagating Christianity. They just, that's the culture they grew up in. That's how they were.
Oh.
So, as children, followed our parents. But I can't really say that I believed, you know, Jesus was God. I can't say I believed that. Maybe I had to say it, but I can't say that I believed it.
That's all you know from your kids, right? I mean, that's the information that you got from your kids about it.
Yeah, not really, you know, growing up, I mean, just went to church on Sunday and, you know, as everybody else did.
Oh.
You had Sunday best, you'd put on your Sunday clothes and go to the church.
I go to church.
Put some money in the plate and wonder, could I keep this money?
Inshallah. So how is the growth of Muslim when back then in Jamaica? Is it many Muslim or minority?
No, I suspect there weren't any.
How much was it?
I suspect there weren't any Muslims there.
There weren't any Muslims. So how do you find Islam?
I found Islam in Canada.
Oh, you were in Canada?
Yeah. My parents migrated to Canada and studied in University of Toronto. And I accepted Islam there.
Oh, mashallah.
But that's a whole story.
Yeah.
Found on YouTube.
Oh, mashallah. I will watch it.
My way to Islam.
So, The question is, why do you choose Islam? Why Islam?
Simply, I read a book while I was searching. I had gone from Christianity to communism. I had become a communist.
You were?
Yeah. I had even applied to go to China to study,
Communism?
revolutionarism.
Oh, really?
I was keen to get involved in the revolution.
Oh, mashallah.
But suffice to say that I read a book by Muhammad Qutb, Dr. Muhammad Qutb. He's the brother of Sayyid Qutb. He's a martyr who was hung to death in Egypt. So, which he called Islam, the misunderstood religion.
What do you mean by misunderstood?
What he explained in the book was the true teachings of Islam, while pointing out the false impressions and understandings that people have about it. Actually in Arabic the title is called Shubahat Hawl al-Islam, doubts about Islam, around Islam. And what he did was he compared communism, capitalism, Buddhism, Hinduism, Christianity, Judaism, as many as you can think of isms that are out there. He compared them in terms of their teachings, good and bad. And at the end of the comparison, what he showed was that in all of these various isms, there was good. There was good in them. There were good points. All of them had good points, right?
Different angle, yeah?
And all of those good points were in Islam.
Wow.
Yeah. And then he went and he pointed out all the bad points. And then when he came to Islam, he showed that all of these bad points are missing from Islam.
MashaAllah.
So I said, that's it. I'm convinced. It was enough for me.
So the first reason, to be honest, the first reason you read that book is for comparing the religion.
Yeah, I was looking for another way, because I had been a communist by that time for about 3 years. And I felt there was issues in communism. It wasn't able to compete with capitalism. And if it was supposed to be the best way for humankind, then why are the capitalists able to beat them out in virtually everything? So that raised a big doubt in my mind. And then also when I read about, the slaughters that took place under Stalin and others, it made me doubt.
So there is no ism that can survive more than 100 years, right? So it's only Islam that can survive this 1,400 years, mashallah. So you're being convinced to Islam by a book, not by somebody.
No, people talk to me. People were talking to me, some draft dodgers from the US who had become Muslims in the US and had come up to Canada. Some of them were talking to me. Among them, in fact, the one who gave me Shahada is Dr. Abdullah Hakim Quick.
MashaAllah.
So he and others were talking to me about Islam, and about the good aspects of Islam and how it's the best way for humankind.
No, mashallah.
So then among the books that I read some different books. Among them was this book, Islam, the Misunderstood Religion. And also another book by Maulana Maududi, I think, which was called This is Islam or something like this.
MashaAllah. And then after you read that book, give you some kind of it's building your trust about Islam at the first one. When you convert, when you revert and you say Shahada, how was your family reaction about that at that moment?
They were fine.
That's okay.
Yeah. My parents were okay with it. Because my parents already, they had an idea about Islam. When they were studying in university, they took a course in world religions, both of them. So they had a background, an idea about Islam, that Islam was a good religion. It had good ideas and so on and so forth. So they felt, positive towards Islam. In fact, they felt so positive that while we were living in Sabah, East Malaysia, they adopted an Indonesian boy who was Muslim.
Whoa. So the adopted son, the adopted boy is a Muslim, but they're not Muslim yet.
No, that's something else. Yeah, my parents did accept Islam, but not at that time.
Not at that time.
No, they raised him, protecting his Islam, because my mother used to get up in Ramadan, suhoor, prepare meals for my brother.
MashaAllah.
Yeah, and if we ate pork, she would cook for him fish.
MashaAllah.
She made sure she didn't give him. And if on Sundays, because on Sundays we used to drink a little bit of wine, right? With the meal. So she would give him grape juice.
MashaAllah. And then,
so they were happy. I when I was a communist, I used to have these debates with my father, at the dinner table, and my mom, when I became a Muslim, it stopped. There was no more debates. So she was very happy I became a Muslim.
Oh yeah.
In that sense, yeah. And my father was okay with it. He was fine. Yeah.
MashaAllah. So now they are Muslim.
Yeah, they became Muslims after, but from the time that I accepted Islam to the time that they accepted Islam was 21 years.
21 years, MashaAllah.
21 years later.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. MashaAllah. And now I have the information that you are among the list of influencing Muslim influencer, 500 Muslim influencer around the world, and you're the number 50. So, what makes you be on that list, I mean, in your opinion?
I think basically it's because of the university which I set up, the International Open University. It's mainly because of that.
MashaAllah. And
also books. I wrote over 50 books, published books on different topics.
Is there any Indonesian books?
Huh?
Is there any translated?
Some have been translated to Indonesian. Yes. Yeah. The Evolution of Fiqh is translated into Indonesian.
Aduh, kita harus nyari nih, kayaknya bukunya luar biasa. Karena dari buku ini banyak sekali guru-guru, para ustadz yang kemudian terinspirasi. And then ada juga Syekh Yusuf Estes tertarik buku dia, akhirnya dia bermualaf gitu kan. So, like the information about that Syekh Yusuf Estes, find the hidayah firstly by reading your books, and send Noman Ali Khan as well. And in what?
No. Noman Ali Khan was a Muslim.
Already a Muslim.
Yeah, already a Muslim. But he used to read my books. In those days, back in the 90s, my books in terms of English, were the most popular books that explained Islam according to Quran and Sunnah. Prior to that, the books that were available in English, usually they involved a lot of culture. Most of the books were from Pakistan or India, and they would bring their culture in with it. Whereas mine was what I wrote about, and I used to choose topics which Muslims, especially new Muslims, needed to know about Islam.
So what is that? What is the topic that?
One of the first topics that I wrote on, Shiaism.
Shiaism?
Because back in the 90s, the late 80s, 90s, after the Iranian Revolution, Khomeini, the Shiites became very active in promoting Shiaism, in the name of Islam, Shiaism, among convert Muslims. Because among the regular Muslims, they were known, Shias, so most Muslims would shy away from it.
So the revert one,
but the revert doesn't know. He has no idea what is Shiaism, what is
They're confused,
So they used to focus on them and convert them. So I wrote among the first 3 books that I wrote were on Shiaism, to clarify for the Muslim, the reality of what Shiaism means, and clarifying that, Khomeini, because some people try to say, oh no, that's the old beliefs. Khomeini held those same beliefs.
Probably I'm wrong because I know nothing about Shia. So Fatima is one of the god in their religion. I mean, they ask for the help from Fatima.
No, I'm not saying that they call them God,
but ask for help from.
But they pray to them.
Oh.
They pray to Fatima. They pray to Hassan and Hussein. They pray to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this is a part and parcel of their belief system. And there are a number of other things. They believe that the 12 Imams were infallible. They couldn't make a single mistake. They were perfect. Couldn't have a single. We didn't believe that. Allah corrects Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's mistakes in the Quran. So how he's correcting the mistakes of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Ali and Fatima and the others are without mistakes? So and then there are a number of other issues. So I clarified those in the books, right? In some of the first books that I wrote. I also wrote a book called The Fundamentals of Tawheed, in which I clarified, Tawheed in Islam as it is according to Tawheed being monotheism, right? The belief in one God. Right? In Islam, I clarified what is included in it and what is rejected by it. And I explained in detail using examples from daily life in the West, etc., that people commonly can relate to and understand. I also wrote a book on polygamy in Islam because of the fact that it's permitted in Islam, but there are rules, So on one hand, it was something of a defense of it in Islam. And on the other hand, it was outlining the rules so that people are clear if they decide to go into polygamy, what they're required to do and what they shouldn't do.
There are so many misunderstood about the polygamy. MashaAllah.
So like that. So I chose topics which were current, especially for new Muslims in the West, and even born Muslims don't have this information. As such, the books became, quite popular in the 90s and beyond.
There's the fact that probably is happening almost every country, probably, that there are always a stereotyping about Muslims, or probably the wrong information, the wrong narration about Muslims. How is your opinion?
Well, the point, is that when you're doing da'wah, it's good for you to ask people what do they understand about Islam. So they will tell you all of the negativities, etc., that has come to them. And then you use that as a basis for clarifying for them what is Islam and what isn't. Because non-Muslims used to ask me oftentimes when I was involved in giving lectures about Islam. They would ask me that when I corrected things that they thought were part of Islam, and I said, no, that's not from Islam. No, that's not from Islam. But they said, but Muslims are doing it. I said, yeah, there's Muslims doing it, but that's from their culture. It's not from Islam. So I used to make these kind of clarifications. So the point is, then they would ask me, so how do we know what's from Islam and what isn't from Islam? Because we assume that what Muslims are doing is what is Islam. I said, but no, you can't depend on that. I said, the best way for you to know, as they call it, the rule of thumb. What is the way to know that this is from Islam and that is not from Islam?
What should we answer back with the soft kind of narrations?
Well, you just tell them that Islam is what the Prophet ﷺ said and did. And what he didn't say and do that you are thinking to make an obligation is not Islam. It's not about how much we know and how much you know and how much your parents knew, etc. The point is that, did your parents bring Islam?
No.
No. They were Muslims. So, who brought Islam? Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So, who is the best source to determine what is Islam and what isn't Islam? Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But, you know, of course, when you try to tell that to your parents, and they look at you, they say, you were just a few years ago wearing diapers. I was changing your diapers just a few years ago. You know, so are you going to come now and tell me what is Islam? It's difficult.
Yeah.
It's
So
a
that's
struggle.
why I was asking
It's
you
a
about
struggle.
that. It's quite interesting. Probably it's interesting. Then talking about Islam and the miscommunication is quite interesting, and it's a challenge as well at the same time. And then, do you have any advice to Indonesian? Like we have different kind of group of Islam, mostly in Indonesia, Sunni. But we have different kind of group. So probably they have different kind of understanding about fiqh. They have different reference, probably. But the main ibadah, like the salah, the fasting, the everything, is the same. I mean, do you have any advice?
Well, you should know the right from the wrong. When you find things which don't seem right,
But
You should-
looks right. Looks right, but not right. I mean,
or people have accepted it as right, then you still need to find out yourself what really is right and what is wrong. Prophet ﷺ said, Al-halalu bayyin wal-haramu bayyin. What is right is clear and what is wrong is clear. And between them are gray areas,
Oh.
you know, which are not understood by most people.
Yeah.
So there's a warning for that. So stay away from those gray areas.
Ah.
This was his warning. Try to avoid those areas. Go with what is clearly right and avoid what is clearly wrong. Keep it simple. As
Keep
they
it
say.
simple.
Keep it simple.
That's a wajib, sunnah, mubah, makruh, haram. Some of the group only do the wajib and sunnah, and some of the group only not doing the wrong one, but they doing the fourth. You know, you get what I'm saying? Some of the
No,
group.
but the point is that halal consists of wajib, sunnah, mubah, and makruh. Those are all a part of what is permissible.
permissible.
Yes, because the makruh is what is disliked. It's better to avoid it. Better to avoid it. But if you did it, it's not counted as a sin against you. The one that's counted as the sin is which one?
Haram.
Yes,
That's clear.
that's clear. And that's the one you need to avoid.
So among those five, only one to avoid, right?
Yeah, that you really need to
Yeah.
avoid. You should avoid the makruh also.
Yeah, makruh. Yeah.
Yeah, it's better to avoid it. But if you did it, know that, you know,
It was like in the
you're
border.
not in haram.
In the border, yeah. Inshallah. So in the era, in this kind of era, technology, information that probably easy to be accessed by almost everybody. That some information is easily accessed. Well, some wrong information about Islam is so accessible, and things like that. And then, how do we keep our identity? What should we do in the social media?
You know, the Prophet ﷺ had said, "Man ra'a minkum munkaran falyughayyir biyadi." Whoever amongst you sees what is wrong against Islam, etc., they should change it with their hands. If they're in a position of authority, they should have it stopped. But if you're not in that position of authority, fabilisani, speak out against it. And if you're not in that position, that if you speak out, the authorities are going to come and crush you, then hate it in your heart. And that is the lowest level of faith.
Oh, subhanallah. So have you ever been banned?
Have I ever been banned?
Yeah.
That's quite a jump.
I mean, you said that the authority can ban you, or probably can.
Yeah, this is the way that they try to silence people.
Yeah.
You know, back in 2010, basically, myself, Dr. Zakir Naik, and Sheikh Hussein Yi, all three of us were banned from the UK as hate preachers.
Hate preachers.
Yeah.
What is that?
A hate preacher is one who preaches hate. That you should hate this person, hate that person.
Oh.
You know, you hate the other one, and so and so. Or what they're doing is bad, is evil, it's corrupt, it's then you become they label you as a hate preacher.
Oh.
You're preaching hate. People should hate these people.
Oh.
So when I spoke on the topic of LGBT issues, they said, "Oh, you're a hate preacher. you know, you're preaching hate against these people." You know,
You're just speaking the truth, actually.
yes. I mean, what I spoke. What is Islam? I'm not saying that I have the right to stop you from what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know, you have your own life. This you're in a country that allows what you're doing, and that's it. But from the Islamic perspective, it's not permissible. It's forbidden in Islam.
Oh.
And there's a reason for it. It's not just forbidden because we don't like the way you look, you know, or the way you dress, you know, the way you speak. It has nothing to do with that. You know, it has to do with following the commandments of God in our lives, not the commandments of the people.
Yeah.
You know, where if the majority of the people feel that this is right, then it's right. If the majority feel it is wrong, then it's wrong. And if today they feel it is right, the majority, and tomorrow they feel it is wrong, the majority, then it's wrong.
So people judgment.
So right and wrong has no guidelines.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
There is no
Because-
strict guideline about it.
Yeah, there's no clarity there for human beings. So they're just in a flow, a flux.
It depends on the trend.
Exactly. You know, and this is not the basis for morality. Morality cannot be according to the whims of people. You know, either it is right or it is wrong. And how do we know right and wrong? We know it from revelation. So the Quran has outlined what is right and outlined what is wrong. The Prophet Muhammad SAW, he also further elaborated on the right and the wrong.
MashaAllah. This kind of information should be shared in many medias. So probably that's why you have probably your spirit in spreading through your campus. How many campus that already you established in the whole world?
Well, I don't know right now, you know, what is the number of learning centers and exam centers, etc., that we have. I don't carry that number around in my head. But, you know, we have quite a few. We have students in virtually 190 plus countries.
190 plus country.
Yeah.
Oh, that's quite a lot.
Almost all the countries in the
So
world.
what's
we have
the name of the
students.
campus?
The International Open University.
International Open University. MashaAllah. So how do we access this if we are interested in joining the campus?
If you Google International Open University, you'll find it.
So we should go to some strict office or campus? Or just
When you Google, it will take you to a website. And the website is there because it's an online.
so it's
campus.
online, so being easily access everyone.
Yes.
Masya Allah. Jadi teman-teman kalau mau ikutan kampus beliau namanya EOC, International Open
University.
EOU, International Open University. Jadi ini bukan kampus yang kemudian kita mesti datang ke satu daerah tertentu atau kampus tertentu, tapi teman-teman bisa ikutan dengan cara apa? Dengan cara daftar secara online, gitu. Dan murid beliau udah ratusan ribu siswa dari seluruh dunia nih, Masya Allah, luar biasa. Is there any limitation about age or probably?
No limitations. We have a free campus where we have a number of courses available that have no cost. And they don't lead to a degree. But we give you a certificate that you have completed the courses. That has no limitations. It's open for everybody and anybody. Then we also have a degree campus where we have courses which lead to a bachelor's, master's, PhD. The main course that we have is Islamic studies, Sharia. And we also have Arabic. But along with that, we also have degrees in education, in banking and finance, Islamic banking and finance, in Islamic psychology, in business administration, and also in IT.
MashaAllah. So, but is in English, right?
Yes, in English medium, but our Islamic studies, bachelor's, that is in Bahasa.
Bahasa, mudah teman-teman ya. Jadi ternyata bukan ngobrolin atau juga mungkin pelajarannya bukan hanya mengenai apa namanya fikih apa segala macam, tapi sampai ke IT, ya, sampai financial Islam, kemudian sampai apa namanya urusan-urusan yang ekonomi segala macam sampai ke IT ada juga. Jadi kayaknya mudah-mudahan teman-teman bisa sambil Google ya IOU ya, mungkin bahasa Indonesia IOU ya teman-teman semuanya. So there's a interesting fact about you that you've been doing so many kinds of da'wah in your lives. So what is the biggest challenge that you have?
The biggest challenge has been establishing the university globally.
That's a challenge.
Yeah, because I'd say that's the biggest challenge. Establishing it from a perspective of accreditation, to have it fully accredited, and its courses are considered equivalent, it's given equivalency in Indonesia by the Ministry of Higher Education. The process of getting that done, still in the process of adding more courses, dealing with student needs. I mean, it's a big challenge.
Yeah,
it's a big challenge. You know, with 10,000 students,
and it's still going on
and expanding. Alhamdulillah, actually, Indonesia is the new frontier.
Oh, inshallah.
We've got, you know, each semester we're adding almost 1,000 students each semester. You know, alhamdulillah.
MashaAllah. In what age probably you think is going to be the finish line for doing this kind of stuff, and you have the resting time to see the Islam growth?
There's no finish.
There's no finish?
There's no finish. I mean, Harvard was started when? In the 1800s.
Wow.
Yeah. Is it finished?
Not yet.
Is it close to being finished?
No. Oh.
So this is sadaqah jariyah
Inshallah.
for myself. I pray that I leave this world and leave that behind, that it continues on after my passing.
Well, inshallah, mashallah. Do you have any successor after you, probably? If already...
Yeah, of course. Of course, we have looked at different people, from my family and from outside of my family, to head, at least on a ceremonial basis, but the leading professors, chancellors, vice chancellors, etc., they're from a variety of different backgrounds,
MasyaAllah.
different parts of the world, etc.
MasyaAllah. Teman-teman semua yang tertarik, saya akan berikan di caption kita teman-teman ya, atau juga informasi di bawah ini mengenai kemana kalau teman-teman tertarik untuk ikutan di IOU ini. Ini menarik sekali ya. Last but not least, after you see Indonesia, is there any nasihat?
Nasiha. What comes to mind immediately is a habit, which is followed here, practiced here, a common habit. And I've found it in a number of parts of the world, and I've tried to correct it. And it's something that is not that difficult to correct if you have the will to correct it. Okay? But you have to have the will. And that habit is the habit of drinking with the left hand. Yeah. Drinking with the left hand.
How do you know that? I mean, you really observe people.
Yes,
there are many reasons to do that.
It's very common practice, So what happens, is that people commonly they will take the vessel, the glass, whatever, with the left hand, and they will put their right hand underneath and drink. Right?
Yeah.
Or, they may, some people even just point a finger and drink.
As long as there is some part
the
of
right,
the right hand
touching it.
Yeah.
But the reality is that if you remove your right hand, where does it remain? In your left hand.
Yeah.
If you're like this or like this, you take your hand away, what's happening? Right? You take your left hand away, it's going to fall down, meaning that you're not holding it with the right. And the Prophet ﷺ said, do not eat or drink with the left, because Satan eats and drinks with the left. Okay? So this is a part of Islamic culture. This is proper Islamic culture, which has been modified, changed, distorted by Satan. So much so that now the majority of Muslims, or at least many Muslims, eat and drink with the left.
Because it's in Indonesia, they eat with the
right. So they're saying, but the bottom line is, yes, okay, you just drank with the left. What's going to happen to this vessel when you finish it? This case, it will be thrown away. If it's a glass, it's going to be washed. So what's the big deal about holding it with your left? With your right. Holding it with your left, when it's going to be clean, you've just used that as an excuse to disobey the Prophet.
I see that. Teman-teman ya, biasanya kalau pakai tangan, yang makan pakai tangan, nggak pakai sendok, itu minumnya karena takut gelasnya kotor. Dia begini, karena takut gelasnya kotor. Menurut beliau bahwa ini gelas bakal dicuci juga. Kalau nggak dipakai juga bakal dibuang. Jadi ngapain? Minum aja, gitu kan?
It's just shaitan. It's shaitan beautifying the haram. That's exactly what he did to Adam. Allah created him in a garden full of trees and told him you can eat from any of these trees except this one. And so what does shaitan get him to do? Eat just from that one. Exactly what Allah told him not to do, he was told to do it. Shaitan tricked him.
I have one more information that I left. You make the 30,000 American soldier embrace Islam.
No, not 30,000.
How much was it?
I was involved in a team that converted 3,000. See?
3,000.
Yeah, as the story goes from person to person, people add, as it goes along till it ended up as 30,000. But no, it's 3,000.
It's 3,000?
3,000.
So you were in the group?
Yeah, I led the group.
When was that?
1991.
1991.
Desert Storm.
Ah.
Desert Storm.
So how come? I mean, how is the sentence? What is the sentence that make them?
It wasn't one sentence. It wasn't one sentence.
Oh.
We provided all the information that we could for them. We answered all the questions that they wanted to ask. We took them into the masjids. We took the female soldiers into the homes of Saudis who had studied in America and their wives had studied there, and let them meet, women, Saudi women, because they were told that the women are oppressed. So let them see these women that they're supposed to be oppressed, in Islam. And we took them in the masjid, let them see what prayer is in Islam. And really, many of them would come and say to me afterwards, hey, what we're doing back home in America is not prayer. What you guys are doing is real prayer. Because there we're playing guitars and singing and dancing and jumping up and down, This is not prayer. So it was enough to convince, many of them. To see proper prayer, people praying, peacefully, quietly.
Ya teman-teman sekalian yang ada di sini mau tanya juga monggo.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
I just wanted how to make the worship of Allah.
Actually, the Sahaba, they had this question also.
Yeah.
One of them, when he reflected on himself, he felt that this up and down made him a munafiq.
Oh.
Who pretended to be Islam on the outside, Muslim, but on the inside they were not Muslim. So he started to walk down the street saying his name is not a believer, true believer.
Oh.
Is a munafiq. He kept repeating that. Until Abu Bakr, he ran into Abu Bakr, and Abu Bakr said, stop, why are you saying that? He said, because when I'm around the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, I feel like an angel, doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Remembering Jannah and all these things.
When he's around.
When I go back home with my wife and children and so, then it's gone. And I'm caught up in the dunya, So my faith goes down. Then I go back to sit with the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, my faith goes up. So Abu Bakr said, same thing happens to me. So he joined him and said, Abu Bakr, walking down the streets of Medina, say Abu Bakr is a munafiq, a hypocrite. Abu Bakr is a hypocrite. So eventually, some of the Sahaba took them to Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that is the norm of human beings. If it is that your iman remained high all the time, the angels would give salams to you in your beds. So there's time for this and there's time for that. That's just how our lives are. There's ups and the downs. So the idea is that when you're up, you do the things that will keep you up as long as you can. When you're down, you try to do the things which will make you come up. It is natural and normal that our faith doesn't keep going on the same level. That's abnormal.
Ya, jadi teman-teman semua ini menarik ya, bahwa iman naik turun itu ada sesuatu yang normal. Jadi kadang-kadang kita ngerasa udah kita jauh dari Allah, Allah nggak mau terima lagi. Jangan pikir seperti itu karena memang normal. Sahabat aja mikir kayak gitu. Apalagi kita yang nggak hidup bersama Nabi gitu ya. Tapi nasihat beliau, tetap aja kita lakuin amal soleh terbaik walaupun dalam keadaan semangat lagi turun. Ini hal yang normal. Insyaallah luar biasa. Thank you very much for your time, Doctor. Insyaallah Indonesian after they know that the IOU information, they will search up and Google up and then becoming one of your students because I heard your perspective is quite interesting. That's probably. Yeah, this is the hasanah probably. There is the bank of information, of knowledge about Islam that probably we should dig up every day, every time. Thank you very much.
Alhamdulillah, since I've been here, almost every place that I go to, somebody says, I'm a student from IOU.
MashaAllah.
So mashallah, it's quite widely spread, at least in the cities that I've been to.
Inshallah. We're gonna become one of them then.
Inshallah. Welcome on board.
Masya Allah. Bismillah. Teman-teman sekalian, itulah di perbincangan kita dengan Dr. Bilal. Insya Allah mudah-mudahan bermanfaat. Mudah-mudahan juga teman-teman semuanya jika merasa ingin menggali lebih banyak lagi, tinggal follow Instagram beliau atau YouTube beliau atau juga mungkin join kampusnya IOU ya teman-teman semuanya. Sampai ketemu lagi di sesi berikutnya. Thank you very much for your time. Insya Allah.
My pleasure.
Next time. The next episode video, insya Allah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.